We wish to advise that the following song cover may contain confusing and context-dependent imagery requiring a deep dive into the collective fever dream of the on-cinema universe in order to understand the humor. In the interest of viewer safety, the clip will be annotated with relevant context in the hopes that it may ease your symptoms.
This is it, baby. We're going to do
At least one of the films is
Bohemian
going to race.
Rhapsody, baby, in honor of the Bohemian Rhapsody song movie that came out.
Okay, just a few points which might help you out here. This scene is from one of the on-cinema Oscar specials, which is streamed live to viewers every year at the same time as the Oscars broadcast. The man on the left is Tim Heidecker, playing a fictionalized version of himself. He's the host of the On-Cinema show, which is supposed to be a movie review show, only Tim quickly stops watching the films they're meant to review each week in order to pursue various other side projects.
Hog shots.
One of these interests is his awful band, Dakar, who you see here, which is a play on the name of his awful action movie series, Decker, which is a play on Tim's surname, Heidecker. Basically, every side project that the On-Cinema Tim is involved with is called some variation of his surname. Tim's awful band has often been shoehorned into the annual Oscar special in some way, where they play variations of the same butt rock original song, Empty Bottle. You might have also noticed that Tim pronounced Bohemian Rhapsody as
Bohemian Rhapsody, baby.
Besides being drunk at this point in the Oscar specials every year in spite of his claims that this year will be different, Tim has a tendency to misread the names of both the actors and the movies they star in, with a favorite of mine being his pronunciation of Jared Leto as Jared Lego. Anyway, back to the clip.
We didn't rehearse this. We're just going to wing it, baby. Are you ready for it? Oh, you got a capo? All right, shit.
Yes. So you might need a little bit of background to understand why the camera suddenly switched to a shot of a sad-looking man caressing a pile of VHS tapes. This is Greg Turkington, playing a fictionalized version of himself. Greg is the permanent guest on Tim's On-Cinema show. Note that he's not called the co-host, even though he's the only guest on most episodes.
Hey, guys!
And is also the only one out of himself and Tim who actually watches the movies being discussed. Greg loves VHS tapes and refuses to watch films on any other form of home media. Outside of reviewing films on On-Cinema, he maintains the Victorville Film Archives, which is basically just his VHS collection. Unfortunately, on multiple occasions throughout the On-Cinema series, Tim manages to destroy various parts of his collection in different ways, ranging from vomiting on them while drunk to setting the archives on fire after falling asleep while smoking. It can always be explained away as an accident, but the frequency with which these incidents occur definitely leaves you wondering. So, to the 6th Oscar special, which you see here. Prior to the special, Tim lost ownership of the On-Cinema series as a result of a civil lawsuit against him, following the deaths of 20 young people at a music festival he organized. Yeah, hopefully I won't need to go into more detail about that. With Tim's control of the show diminished, Greg stepped up to shape it in his own VHS-centered image, including creating an in-house film archive on the production set of the Oscar special, as you can see here. So why is he so sad? Well, at this stage we need to explain that On-Cinema's Tim is a keen supporter of alternative medicine, who will try just about anything before seeing an actual doctor, even when the solution would be as simple as taking regular medication, with the alternative being death.
Wake up. Tim. Okay, call an ambulance. Somebody call an ambulance.
When Tim evades his ban from the Oscar special set to make an emergency announcement about a planned terrorist attack on the Oscar ceremony, which turns out to be false, by the way, he's wearing a magnetic vest which he claims cured his chronic diarrhea. By this point in the On-Cinema timeline, none of this is abnormal behavior for Tim. Now, here's where it all comes together. Towards the end of the Oscar special, Tim takes a tour of Greg's in-house VHS collection, wearing a magnetic vest. I'm sure you can figure out what happens to every single recording on those tapes. By the time the clip you're watching begins, Greg has just made the realization that his entire on-site collection has been destroyed. Okay, I think that's probably the bulk of the context required for this video. I'll leave you to enjoy the train wreck that is Bohemian Rhapsody.
Thank you, everybody, for watching tonight. Sorry about your tapes, baby. I didn't know these fucking magnets would be a problem.
Right. I'm sure you didn't.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality.
Oh, yikes. Yeah, let me explain that nightmarish vision of the golden man with the nosebleed in a bit.
I need no sympathy, cause it's easy come, easy go. Little high,
Fucker.
little low, anywhere the wind doesn't really matter to me. Thank you all for watching. I'm glad I'm back.
He was touring the whole archive.
The whole thing.
He did it on purpose because he walked.
Don't cry
I
over
should have known
spilled
if he's
milk.
doing the tour that he has some ulterior motive because he's never.
My
done any
time is
tour
done.
before.
She shivers down my spine.
I-
My foot is
I called the
breaking
second
all
he
the
showed up.
time.
Yeah, as you can see, it's quite common during these Oscar specials for multiple storylines to be playing out at once. While it's definitely a bit overwhelming on first watch, with multiple rewatches, you pick up more little moments here and there, and the humor of the series really starts to shine through. And I'm assuming that's an investment you're willing to make, right? Right?
But they never.
Goodbye,
came.
everybody.
Right?
I'm
Well,
gotta
he should probably take it away sooner than none
go.
of this would
I
have
gotta
been
leave this show behind.
Shit, again, nobody wants to
Face the
hear.
truth. Come on, mama. Ooh, the
Didn't even
wind
win the
blows.
best picture.
I don't wanna die. Seems I guess I've
I
never
hope they
been
had it.
born at all.
That's the only one that works, Well, oh, here's one that works. Oh, okay. Good.
It may have occurred to you that Dakar are playing their Queen cover in front of a Lord of the Rings themed backdrop with a sign reading Thanes of the Shire at the top. A running joke in this series is Greg's obsession with the Hobbit movies. Not the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but the Hobbit. You know, the movies that no one liked. Greg is also very keen on music not being a part of the Oscar specials, given that it takes time away from talking about the movies themselves. However, even when Tom lost control of the On Cinema franchise, the management that took over insisted on there being music at some point during this Oscar special. Greg found a compromise between the demands of management and his own needs by trolling internet forums until he found a Hobbit-themed folk band. Those are the annoyed men in white shirts banished to the side of the set during this song. Also, there's that bleeding gold bald man again. More on him later.
One of the tapes were.
Come on!
Sorry, it's still not a good time yet. I promise I'll get there. Just bear with me.
Well, it's like about 1 out of 5 of them work. But
You don't want to go
you
too
have
long,
one, you know. Yeah.
Scram dam dam dam.
Well, I'm going to have to go through all of them because I can't maintain an archive where I
I
can't
see a
trust the
little
integrity of what's in the
silhouette of
archive.
a man.
So I have to go through every one of these.
Straight to the fandango. Thunderbolts and lightning.
So this one
Very,
works.
very frightening me. Gotta live, gotta
That's another
live,
one that
gotta
works.
live,
So I need to do
but
2
then
piles, one
steady
that work and the one that don't work.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see
Well, at least you can see part of it. This one works.
I wish I could tell you why there's a slide from 2003's Cat in the Hat movie at the 2019 On Cinema Oscar special. In terms of the production of these specials, the dubiously relevant images are often chosen either to cut to when one of the actors live on set are at risk of breaking on air, or to troll the actors and make them break. I don't know how to explain that dichotomy to you, other than comedians and the people who work with them are a weird bunch.
Good, he's real luck. His life and his ferocity. Easy come, easy go. Here you let me go. It's me, Orlando! No! Let it go, Joe. Get over here. Let me go. Let me.
Never let me go.
Mia, let me go.
It would be remiss of me not to give a shout out to Martin Sheen's brother and prolific character actor in his own right, Joe Estevez, playing a fictionalized version of himself in the On Cinema universe. On Cinema's Joe is a jolly older gentleman who somehow never seems fazed by the madness around him, often stepping in to mediate Tim and Greg's regular spats. He seems to hang around during the Oscar specials mainly to take advantage of the catering, which has its own soap opera subplot play out each year. Anyway, back to you, Tim.
Me as if up has a devil put aside for me, for me, for me.
I'm really worried about Greg over
So you think you can love me and leave me tonight? So you think you can lift me and save me tonight? Oh, baby, come to this to me, baby. Just gotta get it out, just gotta get it right, Mamma Mia.
Okay, I think it's time. This is character actor Mark Proksch, whom you might recognize from What We Do in the Shadows or Better Call Saul, playing a fictionalized version of himself. Starting out as a personal friend of Greg, he made regular appearances on the On Cinema Oscar specials as a pretty poor impressionist of classic cinema comedians like W.C. Fields, the Marx Brothers, and the Three Stooges. He spoke on the side of the prosecution at Tim's murder trial, testifying to Tim's frequent violent and abusive behavior towards him. Oh yeah, I should probably mention that there was a filmed 6-day murder trial because of the deaths at Tim's music festival, which you can also watch. Anyway, due to a wardrobe malfunction, Mark nearly dies during the Oscar special that was filmed just months after the airing of Tim's trial. I'm not going to accuse Tim of sabotaging Mark's costume as revenge for his betrayal during the trial, but, well, I mean, it sure is a coincidence, isn't it? By the time of the clip you're watching now, Mark has been in a coma for a whole year. So what's he doing on set and awake? Well, this is where things take a turn for the dark in the On Cinema universe. Or at least darker than the wrongful deaths of 20 young people at Tim's music festival. So far watching this, I would guess that the picture painted of Greg is pretty tame compared with Tim's explosive unpredictability.
Your son is in hell, Delgado.
What's great about the On Cinema universe, though, is when you work out that Greg's comparatively straight man persona masked its own disturbing lore.
I'm on the 64th floor, and there's a window here.
Well, jump. Moonlight won for Best Supporting Actress. Bye-bye.
After Mark slips into a coma, his good friend Greg takes charge of his hospice care over the course of a year, all the while collecting medical checks intended for Mark's recovery. Whether these checks indeed went towards caring for Mark rather than supplementing Greg's VHS collection remains a matter of public speculation. But a select few episodes of the On Cinema series shot in VR, yeah, that happened too, give some indication as to how Mark's coma year was actually spent. And why the gold leotard? Well, Greg's special Oscar tradition is his annual grand finale, which, until the clip you're watching, has included spelling out the word Oscar, wrongly, in dominoes made of VHS tapes, bringing in living proof that Rebel Without a Cause actor James Dean did not in fact die in a car crash at the age of 24, reenacting a living version of Chris Consani's painting Legal Action, and what ultimately amounted to giving Tim a minor mental breakdown with space noises.
Please, turn it off. Please turn it off.
So how is he going to top it all? By covering Mark's comatose body in gold and bringing it onto the set to play the living Oscar, of course. The reason why Mark is no longer in a coma by the time of the clip you're watching, however, is because Tim interrupts Greg's spectacle to prod around the revolving Mark, whose feeding tube has become dislodged from his throat. This goes about how you would expect it to, but on the bright side, Mark is, well, ejected from his year-long coma. And I imagine it's self-explanatory why he appears so dazed and beaten up during the Bohemian Rhapsody cover, as well as why it looks like there's a poorly treated feeding tube hole in his neck. Yeah, so that was a lot. I imagine you understand now why I left explaining Mark until the end, huh?
Don't step this.
Anyone can see.
Stop it.
Nothing can really matter. Nothing really matters. Nothing really matters. Nothing really matters. Nothing really matters. tattoo on each. Stand by. Anyway, though. All right, thank you. All right.
Enough of the music, guys.
Easy.
individual still in the building.
Okay, thank you.
Where is he?
We're gonna go. Thank
This
you very
man
much.
right here? Right there. Sir, I'd like to talk to you for a minute. Sir!
Oh, yeah, I probably should have mentioned that the police were called very early on in the Oscar special to apprehend Tim for his sudden violent takeover of the set, which left the original co host maced and cornered in his change room for the rest of the broadcast. Anyway, I hope now with this clip, the On Cinema universe makes a little more sense to you and you can enjoy it without being too overwhelmed. At the very least, I hope we can get to the point in our relationship where you understand why I keep shouting, "The Joker strikes again," in bed. Oh, and if you're still confused, why not check out the On Cinema at the Cinema subreddit? They're a friendly bunch who love nothing better than to welcome new fans into the fold, even if it means breaking their own commitments to playing along with the fictional universe Tim and Greg have created. Well, bye.